Good evening. This is All India Radio. I am Abhishek Mukhopadhyay and with me is Prashant Kumar Sinha with the evening news. The headlines. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says India has to play an effective role in the 21st century, necessary ecosystem to be prepared for innovation, research, design, development and entrepreneurship. Addressing grand finale of the Smart India Hackathon, Prime Minister lauds new education policy, says it is a reflection of aspirations of 130 crore Indians. COVID-19 recovery rate reaches 64.52%. Government decides to export ventilators in view of declining mortality rate of COVID-19 patients. And Eid-ul-Azha been celebrated across the country today. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has said that in the 21st century and in a fast-changing world, India will have to swiftly change to play its effective role. Speaking at the grand finale of the Smart India Hackathon this evening through video conferencing, Mr. Modi said with this thinking, necessary ecosystem has been rapidly prepared in the country for innovation, research, design, development and entrepreneurship. He said the new education policy, which was announced few days ago, has been designed keeping in mind the thinking, needs, hopes and aspirations of the 21st century youth.
हमें हमेशा से गर्व रहा है कि बीती सदियों में हमने दुनिया को एक से बढ़कर एक बेहतरीन साइंटिस्ट, बेहतरीन टेक्नीशियंस, टेक्नोलॉजी एंटरप्राइज लीडर्स हमने दिए हैं। लेकिन ये 21वीं सदी है और तेजी से बदलती हुई दुनिया में भारत को अपनी वही प्रभावी भूमिका और उसको निभाने के लिए और अधिक तेजी से हमें खुद को भी बदलना होगा। और इसी सोच के साथ अब देश में इनोवेशन के लिए, रिसर्च के लिए, डिजाइन के लिए, डेवलपमेंट के लिए, एंटरप्राइज के लिए जरूरी इकोसिस्टम तेजी से तैयार किया जा रहा है।
The Prime Minister said it is not just a policy document but also a reflection of the aspirations of 130 crore Indians. He said the 21st century is the era of knowledge and it is the time to increase focus on learning, research and innovation. He said this is exactly what India's National Education Policy 2020 does. Mr. Modi said the policy wants to make your school, college and university experience fruitful, broad-based and one that guides to the natural passions. He said there is now systematic reform in India's education system. An attempt has been made to transform intent and content of education. The Prime Minister said new education policy emphasizes on interdisciplinary study and will ensure that focus is on what student wants to learn.
अब एजुकेशन पॉलिसी में जो बदलाव लाए गए हैं उससे भारत की भाषाएं आगे बढ़ेगी, उनका और विकास होगा। ये भारत के ज्ञान को तो बढ़ाएगी ही, भारत की एकता को भी बढ़ाएगी। हमारी भारतीय भाषाओं में कितनी ही समृद्ध रचनाएं हैं, सदियों का ज्ञान है, अनुभव है। इन सब का अब और विस्तार होगा। इससे विश्व का भी भारत की समृद्ध भाषाओं से परिचय होगा और एक बहुत बड़ा लाभ ये होगा कि विद्यार्थियों को अपनी शुरुआती वर्षों में अपनी ही भाषा में सीखने का अवसर मिलेगा।
He said it also emphasizes on making job creators instead of job seekers. Mr. Modi said the role of the youth is very important in achieving the goal of ease of living to give a better life to the poor. Students from different colleges and universities interacted with the Prime Minister and discussed about their innovative ideas. Health and Family Welfare Minister Dr. Harshvardhan today launched Vidyarthi Vigyan Manthan 2020-21. This initiative is a national program for popularizing science among school students of class 6th to 11th. It was designed to identify the bright minds with scientific aptitude among the student community. While launching the Vidyarthi Vigyan Manthan 2020-21, the minister said this is a platform to identify the talent in the field of science and to promote the scientific acumen among the students. Appreciating the new national education policy, he said, under the leadership of Prime Minister Narendra Modi, this policy has been introduced which will create world-class knowledge center in India.
Health and Family Welfare Minister Dr. Harshvardhan today announced the successful completion of Pan-India 1000 genome sequencing of the SARS-CoV-2. He also highlighted that 16 vaccine candidates are in different stages of development. The minister today held a meeting with the Department of Biotechnology and reviewed the COVID-19 activities of the DBT, Biotechnology Industry Research Assistance Council. In the meeting, the minister launched and dedicated to the nation the largest network of 5 dedicated COVID-19 biorepositories established by the Department of Biotechnology. These biorepositories are situated at Faridabad, Bhubaneswar, New Delhi, Pune and Bangalore. He complimented the efforts of the Department of Biotechnology in the relentless war for mitigation from this pandemic. In Andhra Pradesh, 11 people lost their lives in a major mishap at the Hindustan Shipyard Limited today in Visakhapatnam. According to District Collector Mr. Vinay Chand, the accident took place when a heavy crane collapsed on the berth while doing load testing. 9 workers were killed on the spot, while 2 more workers died on way to the hospital. The accident took place when a huge crane collapsed suddenly whilst being inspected. Defence employees at the Hindustan Shipyard are carrying out relief operations. State Tourism Minister Avanti Srinivas inquired about the shipyard accident. The minister asked officials to provide better treatment to the injured workers. Chief Minister Jagan Mohan Reddy expressed shock over the incident. He spoke to District Collector Vinay Chand and asked him to take up all necessary steps to carry out rescue operations immediately. An inquiry committee has been formed to look into the reasons of the accident as per the CM's office, said District Collector Vinay Chand. Visakhapatnam MP V.V. Satyanarayan has visited the accident spot to monitor rescue operations. Shipping Minister Mansukh Mandavia expressed sadness on the unfortunate crane collapse incident at the Hindustan Shipyard Limited. In a tweet today, Mr. Mandavia said he is saddened by the untimely death of workers. He prayed for the speedy recovery of the injured. The Union Government has set up a departmental inquiry committee to investigate the causes leading to the accident in the Hindustan Shipyard Limited, Visakhapatnam. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh expressed condolences over the loss of lives in the accident. He said he was extremely anguished by the loss of lives at the facility and his thoughts are with the bereaved families. He also wished speedy recovery of the injured.
Samajwadi Party leader Amar Singh, who was admitted to a hospital in Singapore, passed away today. He was ailing for the past few months. He had earlier undergone a kidney transplant surgery. He was born in Azamgarh district of Uttar Pradesh. A former General Secretary of the Samajwadi Party was once known to be very close to the party founder Mulayam Singh Yadav and his brother Shivpal Yadav. However, in 2010, Amar Singh resigned from all party posts and was soon expelled from the party. He was later inducted in the party, but his second stint with the SP came to an end after he was expelled from the Akhilesh Yadav-led party again in 2017. The sitting Rajya Sabha MP had been facing health-related issues for over a decade and had undergone a kidney transplant. He had been hospitalized in Singapore since March this year. President Ramnath Kovind, Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu, Prime Minister Narendra Modi has expressed grief on the demise of Amar Singh. In a tweet, Mr. Kovind said Amar Singh was an able parliamentarian. Vice President M. Venkaiah Naidu in a tweet today expressed heartfelt condolences to his family. Prime Minister Narendra Modi in a tweet said that Amar Singh was an energetic public figure and in the last few decades he witnessed some of the major political developments from close quarters. The Prime Minister said Amar Singh was known for his friendships across many spheres of life. Defence Minister Rajnath Singh, Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar, Road Transport and Highways Minister Nitin Gadkari and Health and Family Welfare Minister Dr. Harshvardhan also expressed condolences on the death of the former Samajwadi Party leader. The festival of sacrifice, Eid ul-Azha or Bakr Eid, has been celebrated with religious fervour and due reverence across the country today. Most of the worshippers offered Eid namaz or prayers in local mosques, adhering to physical distance. In some states where lockdown is imposed, people offered prayers at their homes amid the pandemic. The imams who led the prayers appealed to the people to celebrate the festival in the spirit of brotherhood while maintaining health protocols. Eid ul-Azha is celebrated to commemorate the willingness of Prophet Ibrahim to sacrifice his only son in obedience of God's command. In Kerala, Eid ul-Azha was celebrated yesterday. Prime Minister Narendra Modi has greeted the people on the occasion of Eid-ul-Azha. Information and Broadcasting Minister Prakash Javadekar conveyed his greetings to all the countrymen on the occasion. In his message, Prime Minister hoped that this day will inspire people to create a just and harmonious and inclusive society. He also hoped that the spirit of brotherhood and compassion will be furthered. Union Minority Affairs Minister Mukhtar Abbas Naqvi offered prayers at his residence on the occasion of Eid-ul-Adha. In a tweet, he said, keeping in mind the social distancing norms due to the pandemic, he offered prayers from his home, asking the Almighty for peace, prosperity and harmony in the country. In the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, Eid-ul-Azha has been celebrated today. People offered prayers at their homes only since no religious congregations were allowed in idgahs and mosques in view of the prevailing unprecedented circumstances following the upsurge in the number of COVID cases reported these days. More from a Srinagar correspondent.
Lieutenant Governor Girish Chandra Murmu has extended his best wishes to the people of Jammu and Kashmir, especially the Muslim community, on the auspicious occasion of Eid-ul-Azha. He, in his message, said that the festival supports the spirit of sacrifice, benevolence and generosity towards others. He hoped that the auspicious occasion would further enhance the amiable atmosphere and provide light for prosperity and development in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. He prayed for peace, progress and prosperity in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir. He urged the people of Jammu and Kashmir to celebrate this festival in compliance with the guidelines and norms issued by the administration given the emerging situation. This is Sunil Kohl for AR News from Srinagar.
In an exclusive interview to All India Radio News, Jammu and Kashmir Rural Development and Panchayati Raj Secretary Sheetal Nanda said that the Back to Village initiative gave an opportunity to officers to connect with the panchayats and to know about their needs.
बैक टू विलेज का जो हमारा प्रोग्राम है ये अब तक 2 इसके फेजेस हो चुके हैं। पहला जो था जिसको हम बैक टू विलेज 1 कहते हैं, हमने ये इंश्योर किया कि एवरी पंचायत में एक गेजेटेड ऑफिसर जरूर जाएगा और वहाँ के लोगों के साथ इंटरैक्ट करेगा, वहाँ पे स्कीम्स कैसी इम्प्लीमेंट हो रही हैं देखेगा, क्या उनकी मेन जरूरियात हैं वो देखेगा। और जब इसका फेज 2 हुआ तो हमने ऑफिसर्स को इस मैंडेट के साथ भेजा कि जाइए देखिए जो आप बैक टू विलेज 1 में देख के आए थे क्या उससे कुछ इम्प्रूवमेंट हुआ है। एंड इट वाज अ ह्यूज सक्सेस। लोगों ने अपनी उनको खाली परेशानियां नहीं बताई बल्कि उनको फुल कोऑपरेशन भी दिया एंड हमारे ऑफिसर्स ने भी एक तरह से इन पंचायत को अडॉप्ट कर लिया।
Talking about economic potential in the region, she said that every panchayat has a different potential and the Back to Village program can provide impetus to the village economy. In Jammu and Kashmir, the State Transport Department has said that the administration is in the process of framing a policy with regard to registration and plying of vehicles older than 15 years in the Union Territory. The policy will be notified before the extension of validity period granted in view of COVID-19 pandemic expires. All India Radio correspondent reports that the department has refuted reports appearing in a section of the print media regarding movement of vehicles having attained the life of 15 years. The administrative department has already issued directions to all concerned for ensuring strict implementation of extended validity of the documents. J&K administration ordered for putting a complete ban on plying of 25-year-old commercial or passenger vehicles on road with effect from April 2007. Gujarat-based and Asia's largest Banas Dairy has come up with an innovative project to produce CNG from animal dung. Our correspondent reports that the chairman of Banas Dairy, Mr. Shankar Chaudhary, made an official announcement of the project today. Mr. Chaudhary claimed this as the country's first such endeavour. A report.
Following the appeal by PM Narendra Modi on creating best from the West, Banas Dairy started country's first CNG pump in which gobar gas is being produced, purified and converted into CNG. The dairy is collecting over 40 tons of cow dung from the farmers around 25 villages. A total of 800 kgs of CNG is expected to produce daily under the project. The sale of the CNG will begin from the pump in coming week. Mr. Chaudhary said that the aim of this project is to increase farmers' income and make them self-reliant. Aparna Khun, AR News, Ahmedabad.
Northern Railway today ran the first ever Vyapar Mala Express train. General Manager of Northern and North Central Railway Rajiv Chaudhary said this train destined for Jirania in Tripura has 46 wagons. Wheat was loaded in 34 wagons in Gunenia station of Firozpur division by Food Corporation of India, and the remaining rice and pulses have been loaded. He said Railways has earned more than 94 lakh rupees from this Vyapar Mala Express train. This is an express service where piecemeal stock will reach its destination in a shorter time. Air Marshal V.R. Chaudhary took over as the Air Officer Commanding-in-Chief of Western Air Command of the Indian Air Force today. The Air Marshal took over command from Air Marshal B. Suresh. Air Marshal V.R. Chaudhary was commissioned into the fighter stream of the IAF in 1982 as a fighter pilot. During his career, he has flown a wide variety of fighter and trainer aircraft. He has a flying experience of MiG-21, MiG-23 MF, MiG-29 and Su-30 MKI fighter aircraft.
You are listening to the evening news on All India Radio. A reminder of the headlines before we move on. Prime Minister Narendra Modi says India has to play an effective role in the 21st century. Necessary ecosystem to be prepared for innovation, research, design, development and entrepreneurship. Addressing grand finale of the Smart India Hackathon, Prime Minister lauds new education policy, says it is a reflection of the aspirations of 130 crore Indians. COVID-19 recovery rate reaches 64.52%. Government decides to export ventilators in view of the declining mortality rate of COVID-19 patients, and Eid ul-Adha being celebrated across the country today. For quick news updates round the clock, follow us on our Twitter handle @AIR News Alerts.
India has registered the lowest COVID-19 mortality rate at the global level. Today, the mortality rate has further declined to 2.15% in the country. It is the lowest figure since the first lockdown was imposed due to the coronavirus pandemic. The Health and Family Welfare Ministry said a total of 10,94,374 people have recovered in the country so far, and 36,569 recoveries were reported in the past 24 hours. With this, the recovery rate reached to 64.52%. Meanwhile, the Indian Council of Medical Research said that a total of 5,25,689 tests of coronavirus samples were conducted by the various laboratories within 24 hours. So far, 1,93,58,659 tests have been conducted in the country. A report.
The central government, in collaboration with the states and union territories, is continuously ramping up the health infrastructure in the country to combat the COVID-19 pandemic. There are 1,488 dedicated COVID hospitals, 3,231 dedicated COVID health centers, and 10,755 COVID care centers in the country. These hospitals and centers have the capacity of around 17 lakh isolation, ICU, and oxygen-supported beds, and more than 23,000 ventilators. In terms of COVID-19 testing, India is soon going to touch the figure of 2 crore testing. Now more than 1,300 government and private laboratory chain are conducting tests for coronavirus samples across the country. Bhupendra Singh, AIR News, Delhi.
A total of 1,118 new confirmed cases of coronavirus were reported in Delhi with the last 24 hours, taking the total number of cases to 1,36,716. Delhi government has confirmed that over 1,22,000 people affected with coronavirus have been cured so far. In the last 24 hours, 1,201 people recovered and 26 deaths were reported in the national capital, taking the toll to 3,989. Presently, the total number of active cases in the national capital is 10,596.
The seroprevalence study began today in Delhi. This second-round survey is being conducted in different areas of the city and in the next 5 days. The first phase of the study was conducted from the 27th of June to the 10th of July in all the 11 districts of Delhi. During the survey, a total of 21,387 blood samples were collected from selected individuals and were tested for IgG antibodies using the ELISA testing kits. The study showed that only 22.86% of the people are affected due to coronavirus and 77% of the population is still vulnerable. The study also indicated that a large number of infected persons remain asymptomatic. The tests have been done to identify the presence of antibodies in the general population. It provided information about past COVID-19 infection in individuals who had tested positive. Our correspondent reports that antibody testing like Sero survey provides important evidence for assessing the spread of the pandemic. Depending upon the study of seroprevalence of infection, appropriate public health interventions can be planned and implemented for prevention and control of the disease. As per the Indian Council of Medical Research, periodic sero surveys are useful to guide policymakers to conduct surveys in high-risk areas of vulnerable population who have been infected in the past and have now recovered. The government has decided to permit export of ventilators. The decision was taken as India continues to maintain a progressively declining low rate of case fatality of COVID-19 patients, which currently stands at 2.15%. The Union Health Ministry said that in India, fewer number of active cases are on ventilators. As of yesterday, only 0.22% of the active cases were on ventilators across the country. Additionally, there has been substantial growth in the domestic manufacturing capacity of ventilators. Presently, there are more than 20 domestic manufacturers for ventilators.
In Uttar Pradesh, Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath has laid emphasis on the proactive approach to control the menace of COVID-19. He asked for better coordination through Integrated Command and Control Center ICCC to provide all health facilities to the patients. More from a correspondent.
Presiding over the review meeting, Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath said that the medical institutions should maintain adequate health services. There should be enough availability of ventilators and portable ventilators as and when required. The CM further directed to conduct more than 1 lakh COVID tests every day. He directed to exercise every caution to observe all festivals peacefully. Meanwhile, 3,480 new active cases were found in last 24 hours in state, and now there are a total of 36,037 active COVID patients. Lucknow and Kanpur cities are now hotspot of the infection, and 363 and 370 new cases were found in these cities. State capital Lucknow has highest number of 4,090 active cases in state. Sushil Chandra Tiwari, AIR News, Lucknow.
In Madhya Pradesh, rapid antigen tests have been started in Bhopal. Chief Minister Shivraj Singh Chauhan directed that this test should be started immediately in Indore and other districts. The number of COVID-19 cases in the state climbed up to around 32,000 after the 838 new cases reported in the past 24 hours in Madhya Pradesh. With 10 patients succumbing to the infection during the day, the death toll rose to 867. More in this report.
Home and institutional quarantine is being provided in the Madhya Pradesh by the state government to prevent corona infection. Now, arrangements for paid quarantine have also been made for those who can afford it. Additional Chief Secretary ICP Keshri informed that quarantine has been arranged in many cities including Bhopal, Rewa, Gwalior, Jabalpur and Ujjain in MP tourism hotels. Meanwhile, in order to curb the death rate in Hamidia Hospital, Bhopal, the state government has set up an experts committee to improve arrangements in the hospital. The committee will comprise Principal Secretary and other senior officers along with the medical experts. Sanjeev Sharma, AIR News, Bhopal.
In Maharashtra, Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray today coined the term "chase the virus" and stressed on the need to treat maximum patients in a timely manner and pay special attention to the elderly to break the chain of virus transmission. More from our correspondent.
Thackeray, while speaking at the event organized by Bharatiya Jain Sangatana, laid emphasis on the need of people to come forward to fight the crisis and said it is a matter of great pride that social organizations are coming forward and cooperating with the government. He said people's representatives and social organizations have a big role to play in this. He expressed confidence that with the participation of people, Mission Zero would be a success and said that care should be taken not to increase the number of patients in rural areas. Health Minister Rajesh Tope, who was also present at the event, said the government is strengthening the health service system, under which 211 corona testing laboratories have been set up in the state, and so far over 21 lakh tests have been done. Devapriya Bhattacharjee, AIR News, Mumbai.
In Tamil Nadu, Minister for Health and Family Welfare, Dr. C. Vijaya Bhaskar, has said that the state government has clearly instructed private hospitals to provide free-of-cost treatment to COVID-19 patients. The minister also underscored the fact that the Tamil Nadu government is systemically implementing anti-COVID-19 treatment by integrating allopathy with Ayurveda, Siddha and other indigenous systems of medicine. In Karnataka, the spike in COVID-19 cases continues with 5,172 new cases reported today. The number of people who died in a single day due to the virus are 98. The state has reported 1,29,287 positive cases to date and 73,219 are active now. The samples tested today are 34,760. The lion's share of new COVID-19 cases were reported from Bangalore Urban District, with 1,852 new positive cases reported today. The total number of positive cases are 57,396, out of which 37,760 are active cases. With 27 deaths today in the district, the total number of deaths has reached 1,056. More from our correspondent.
To look at the positive side of the health bulletin today, 3,860 COVID positive patients were discharged after recovery. There are 53,648 persons who have recovered from the viral infection. There are 2,05,706 persons under observation, out of which 1,09,246 are primary contacts and 96,460 are secondary contacts. There are 602 people in ICU. Most of the deaths are of those who had severe acute respiratory illness and influenza-like illness with symptoms of breathlessness, fever and cough. Deputy Chief Minister Dr. Ashwath Narayan reviewed the COVID-related situation in the west zone of Bengaluru today. He called upon health officials to increase the number of COVID tests and asked them to initiate action against officials who failed to turn up for duty. He was told that out of 7,000 booth-level officials, only 1,200 were present on duty. Sudhindra, AIR News, Bengaluru.
The gross GST goods and services tax revenue collected in the month of July this year is 87,422 crore rupees, of which CGST central goods and service tax is 16,147 crore, SGST state goods and service tax is 21,418 crore, and IGST integrated goods and service tax is 42,592 crore rupees. It also includes 20,324 crore collected on import of goods and cess is 7,265 crore rupees. In Bihar, Chief Minister Nitish Kumar said that the state government will recommend for CBI inquiry into suicide case of Bollywood actor Sushant Singh Rajput if demand comes from his family. Talking to media, Mr. Kumar said his government is committed to bringing justice to the actor's family and would take every step towards that end. Meanwhile, Director General of Police Gupteshwar Pandey said Bihar Police is confident of solving the death case of Sushant Singh Rajput. Mr. Gupta said Maharashtra Police is not providing evidence related to the suicide case. The DGP said the police has recorded statements of 6 close associates of Sushant. However, they could not contact Bollywood actress Riya Chakraborty, who is the prime accused in this case.
Now let us take a look at the weather forecast for tomorrow. The national capital Delhi will have generally cloudy skies with light rain or drizzle. It will have a minimum temperature of around 27 degrees Celsius and maximum of 35 degrees Celsius. Mumbai will experience generally cloudy skies with moderate rain. The minimum temperature will be at 26 degrees Celsius and the maximum temperature around 33 degrees Celsius. Chennai will have a generally cloudy sky with light rain. The temperature will hover between 26 and 35 degrees Celsius. Kolkata will have partly cloudy skies with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. The minimum temperature in the metropolis will be around 28 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 35 degrees Celsius. On to north in the Union Territory of Jammu and Kashmir, the minimum temperature will be 22 degrees Celsius in Jammu, while the maximum will be around 34 degrees Celsius. The city will have a partly cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. In Srinagar, the minimum temperature will be around 18 degrees Celsius, while the maximum will be around 30 degrees Celsius. The city will have partly cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. In Gilgit, the temperature will hover between 18 and 34 degrees Celsius. It will experience partly cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. In Muzaffarabad, there will be partly cloudy sky with 1 or 2 spells of rain or thunder showers. The minimum temperature will be 23 degrees Celsius, while the maximum temperature will be around 35 degrees Celsius.
And now, before we end the headlines once again, Prime Minister Narendra Modi says India has to play an effective role in the 21st century, necessary ecosystem to be prepared for innovation, research, design, development and entrepreneurship. Addressing grand finale of the Smart India Hackathon, Prime Minister Lord's new education policy says it is a reflection of aspirations of 130 crore Indians. COVID-19 recovery rate reaches 64.52%. Government decides to export ventilators in view of declining mortality rate of COVID-19 patients, and Eid ul-Azha been celebrated across the country today. For details of these stories and more, log on to our website www.newsonair.com and News on AIR app. And with that we end the evening news.